don't mind, I love what you just said. The model and the long-term indicators, people from the outside might be going, well, what are these indicators? What do you look at with this model and this indicator system?
So the models, we're looking primarily at our methodology through the lens of different indicators, which we categorize, I'd say, three ways: trend following or momentum gauges, overbought or oversold metrics, and then relative strength inputs. So it's those three categories that serve as a basis for our methodology, which we impart through our research. We also have a research product, and that's a nice supporting factor, of course, for the TACK ETF. And through that, we're expressing views using some traditional technical indicators, like a MACD indicator would be one people might be familiar with, or some that are a little bit more esoteric, but together they comprise our model. And it's sort of the dynamic nature of that model that makes it unique, and also the fact that it has those sort of multiple factors driving it. We do use a quantitative overlay to help with the relative performance, especially when it comes down to selecting between, a couple of sector ETFs that are looking pretty similar on their charts. We will, sort of reward the relative performance over time. So momentum, overbought, oversold metrics, relative strength inputs.
Now, we had talked a little bit about limiting drawdowns. All investors, all traders obviously want to limit the drawdowns. So I'm kind of curious, like, is your ETF, what's the leading indicator, right? I feel like I should just be looking at your ETF, knowing what are they prepping for, and use your ETF as the leading indicator. Do you have something internally that you kind of use to say, okay, well, rough waters might be ahead?
It is those same indicators, and it's a matter of listening to them, which is what we do in our research as well. The market knows better than we do. So when it changes, we want to change with it, whether or not it really aligns with our fundamental views. So the markets, sort of absorbs all the known information out there, and it does manifest itself in price. So our price-based tools will be shifting at a time when the market is shifting. And that's what we're really just sort of listening to the tape. And when the indicators shift to enough of a degree where it's impacting the monthly data, that's where we will go ahead and make a change if it's warranted. And the way we change from more of an equity focused position, we would simply reduce that sector, or sort of take the bucket that one sector was filling and fill it with a combination of those other ETFs representing treasuries and also gold. And it's a diversified sort of risk off exposure is the way we categorize it. And that will then almost create a nice dynamic alternative to a 60-40 type of portfolio, where at times the portfolio can be nearly 100% equity exposure, and at times nearly 100% risk off exposure, although that's thankfully pretty rare because that happens only in extreme sort of bear market cycles. We did see in 2022 the TACK ETF go down to a 12.5% equity exposure, holding only energy and the rest in those risk off categories, which is pretty fascinating. Right now, we've moved to an 87.5% equity exposure, down from nearly 100%. So, and we expect this year to be different.
Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Content is offered for information purposes only. Unless stated otherwise, any and all individuals participating in the video are third parties that include both professional investors and individual investors who may not be licensed or certified by any institute or regulatory body. Unless stated otherwise, the views or opinions expressed may not reflect those of Seeking Alpha as a whole. The accuracy and completeness of content shared cannot be guaranteed. Seeking Alpha does not take account of your objectives or financial situation and does not offer any personalized investment advice. Seeking Alpha is not a licensed securities dealer, broker, U.S. investment advisor, or investment bank.